Hi, I'm Uday, Managing Director of eNate India. We are a service orchestration platform which has been designed to have humans and bots working together at scale. So if you're looking at scaling your automation program, then we as a service orchestration platform enable you to do that. Now, as part of my job, I meet a lot of businesses in India and the APAC region, and I see some themes coming out when I speak to all these businesses. And I thought I should put together a couple of slides to kind of talk to them and look at ways as how you could potentially address that. Now, if you see a lot of places how bots are deployed, there will be some sort of a technical team, maybe a COE team or some kind of a technology team which will come in and they will set up some bots. So there will be a tech team managing a small bot group or depending on a large implementation, a big one. And then they will kind of set the whole thing up and then offer that as a service to your business users. Now, business users will then be told you can send out emails to certain places, maybe fill in Excels or CSVs, put them somewhere, the bots will pick them up and process it, or basically have some kind of way in which they output what they need processed, and then the bots will take that, do their stuff, and hand it back to the business users. Now, the problem with this kind of a setup is that business users can't actually see the bots. So the bots are actually operating in some sort of a silo where the business users don't have direct visibility of the bots. And that poses a lot of problems. Ultimately, these are the consumers of the service, but the operational responsibility of bots to make sure they're running, working, delivering everything which they need lies with, with the technical team which is sitting on the side. Now, because of no visibility, there are a whole bunch of challenges which come into play. For example, business users don't have visibility of what's the status of the bots, whether they're online, offline, working, what they're working on, all sorts of things like that. So no understanding of real-time capacity. The other things are business users are trying to do things as per business SLAs, but then the bots are working as per schedules which might have been put together by the technical users. And there's a conflict there because business needs to do things when business needs things. Then there is all sorts of prioritization issues. So let's say a business wants to promote something to happen fast, or if there's something which requires urgent attention, since they don't have visibility, don't control the bots, they can't really make it work to a schedule that works for them. So ultimately, there are no real-time, there's no real-time understanding of what's happening in the bot environment, and a little bit of a rigid schedule against which business can operate. Now, all of this also means that ultimately the bots are limited in their utilization, and it's not the best experience for business. Now, the technical teams or the COE teams or the bot management teams also have their share of problems with this. So basically, a lot of businesses will set up command centers, so rooms in which there are big TVs and stuff like that, where there are just bot teams. I mean, they're just human teams just sitting and looking at the bots as to what's happening in those environments, trying to proactively find when something goes down before business users get impacted by it. Now, that's a lot of cost, and that's also a massive comms overhead. So because the business will keep asking them what's happening, and they have to just maintain a big team just to answer the questions, monitor the bots, just keep that whole infrastructure going. Now, another problem which I see as a theme which is developing, and this becomes an issue as your bot scale goes up, is that because operational ownership lies with these guys, when something goes down here, then the business users expect them to finish business tasks. And the problem is they are technical users. They may not understand the business functionality. And then that becomes a massive overhead in itself because you don't know really what you're supposed to do with business, with business pieces of work. Now, all of this basically are the challenges which a technical team faces. And ultimately, this kind of environment basically means that there's so much of complexity in this whole delivery model that it just slows down adoption, it limits utilization, and comes at a pretty high cost. Now, what can you actually do about it? So let's have a look at that. Hope some of these make sense to you. All of them, by the way, may not be relevant for your operation. There might be situations which you, or instances of these challenges which you recognize, maybe others you don't. But these are from a large spectrum of customers, so all of them are things which are recurring in nature. Now, when you deploy bots along with an orchestration platform like eNate, what happens, right? Business users continue to send out emails, put things in files, or feed bots by dropping things in various different places. But the difference is each of these items automatically creates a workpiece in Innate. And then what happens with that is your entire business user workforce and your digital user workforce, both of them start working off the same platform, right? Now, because bots and humans are working off the same platform, what that also means is that they become interoperable. So when humans finish their tasks, they can hand off to bots in a seamless way. When bots cannot do something or finish their activities, they can hand them back to humans in a very, very seamless way. And what this means is that business starts owning the bots and the entire operational ownership moves to the business team. Now, there are a lot of advantages of this, right? First of all, the business users have complete visibility of the status, online, offline, what the bots are working on. They can ensure that the bots work to their business SLA suddenly, and they are not boxed in by a regimented schedule based on what the technical team has provided. They can dynamically manage the prioritization of work against bots, so they can get things done faster, fast-track various types of things. They have real-time understanding of all the metrics. So how many bots are working, what are they doing, how much have they processed, how much effort they took, and a whole bunch of operational metrics around that. They also have entire records of transactional history. So a lot of environments, especially things like BFSI and stuff like that, there's a little bit of a compliance risk as well, because a lot of now previously people were changing things, now bots are also changing things. Businesses are starting to they have to have a handle on who changed what where, and Innate is a platform which gives you the entire transaction history of when something came in, when it went to a human, when it went to a bot, what changes were made, everything in one transaction. And the last thing is dynamic bot sharing and utilization. So just like a human environment where if there is load in a specific place, you can ask some of the human team members to go and join that team temporarily and help out there. Innate lets you do the same with bots as well. So suddenly business can start seeing bots as an extension of the human workforce. They can freely move them around, deploy them where required, and then just manage it much, much better. Now, there are advantages with this for the bot team as well, for the COE team as well. And what advantages are basically the theme of the advantage is that you free up the bot COE team, or some businesses will call it L1, which basically just look and manage bots, and they can start focusing on the growth of automation rather than having to monitor, manage all the comms, and they can do it with a much smaller, lean, focus team, right? Another thing is when exceptions happen, with a platform like Innate, you can have a look at the exception, and if it's a business exception, you can just send it straight back to the business team. Now, a lot of times when exceptions happen, it's because users haven't given the right files, they haven't given the right kind of inputs, so on and so forth. So ultimately, you can just send it back to the business. I mean, let them fix it. Only if there's a technical issue, then you need to send it back to the tech team. And what happens with that is ultimately a much lower exception management routine they have to follow every day, and there is no overhead of them having to kind of learn and deliver business pieces of work. Now, what all of this ultimately means is a much faster adoption, simply because of the excellent RPA experience which businesses are having, and the ability to manage bots just like human colleagues of businesses. Now, hopefully all of that was clear. I'm going to show you a little bit of what that actually looks like. This is the view of the product. This is a business user's view. So somebody who is logged in, who has responsibility to deliver a bunch of business processes or services. And what they see is basically all the work which their team has responsibility to do. So that's everything in the grid down below here. This is Brian, who's logged in as a team owner. Brian has a human team, and you can see everything which the human team is working on. So each individual with a number inside the donut that tells Brian how many pieces of work that user is working on at that point in time. Everything is color-coded to red, amber, green. So Stephanie, for example, is behind schedule on what Stephanie is doing, so that's why it's red. And Moira, for example, is green right now, so Moira is on time, on target. Rebecca's got a couple of things in her inbox. One of them is amber, means it's due today. So the team owner has a complete view of the human workforce and also the digital workforce, just like the human counterparts. Brian can suddenly start seeing what all bots are there. So in this example, there is a bot team of 4, which complements this human team of 6. And what the bots are working on is basically down in the grid right now, what you see. You can also see, just like the humans, which pieces of work the bots are working on right now. So suddenly Brian, as a business owner, has got complete visibility of, just like the human workforce, across the bot workforce as well. Brian can also see what are the SLAs against which the bots will do stuff. So the first one is red. So Brian already knows that Crichton, the bot, is processing this piece of work right now and is running behind schedule as per their business SLAs. So Brian can step in and maybe for other pieces of work, pull them out, redistribute them to humans, change the prioritization of something. All that freedom goes back to the business. Brian can also understand things like there's an hour, and I don't know if that's visible on screen. It basically says an hour and 30 minutes in the yellow box. And what that's saying is that this bot team has got an hour and 30 minutes worth of work, after which it will go idle. So Brian, as a business owner, can start to plan what else needs to be done as well. Down below here at the bottom are what we call bot farms. Innate as a platform is agnostic of the bot type. So you can run multiple bot farms on the platform. So there's a UiPath bot farm, there's an Automation Anywhere bot farm. And with Innate, what happens is you can kind of get a single bird's eye view across all of the different bots which are there, which you have in your operation. Hopefully that was all clear, and we'll just we'll stop there. But hopefully that gives you a sense of how you can kind of humanize and bring bots into the business side of the operation, and let business users use them much more seamlessly, interact with them just like other people, and then that kind of just improves your experience and helps you start, increasing the adoption rate in the business. Thank you.